expensive drip, exotic cars when I took that loss.
What's going on, guys? It's your man, Ed Hayes, the wholesale coach here, back for another episode of the Wholesaling Mastermind podcast, guys. And in this episode, we've got Marni Marchant, guys, out in Seattle, Washington, and she's an investor and private lender. So I'm so happy to have her onto the podcast. We're going to be talking about lending and how she's working with wholesalers out there to get deals done. So Marni, how are you doing? Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you so much. I couldn't be better. Great way to start the new year.
Hey, now, right? Today
Yes.
we are recording this on the first day of the year, guys. So starting off this year the right way. Yeah, so Marni, I'm glad to have you on to the podcast. You know, I gave you a little bit of an intro. Why don't you, take the lead and tell the audience a little bit more about yourself?
Sure, thanks. Well, first off, thank you so much for inviting me.
It's my
here.
pleasure.
Yes,
Yeah.
It's my first, and so as I did mention to you, so be gentle with me.
I got you.
So let's see. I came from doing finance, like business finance, startups, and that kind of thing. But it was very general. You know, it was really like anybody with a business or a startup, or even if somebody wanted a truck. You know, so it was kind of like anyone and everyone, and so I found the marketing part rather challenging because I didn't have a target market. And startups, on the one hand, it's great for them because actually most of them need it,
Right.
because they're not going to, an investor's not going to magically appear and like the dream, right? But most of them are, terrified of borrowing money to start up their dream. So, it's you're dealing with that too. There's a lot of stress. So anyway, long story short, my business partner and I came across information about real estate financing, and that was the only thing we could not finance. So dug a little deeper, and like it just snowballed from there. As soon as I plugged into that, everything changed for me, and now I have my target market, and I'm loving it. I'm loving the conversations. It's just it's a whole different ball game,
Okay.
Long
I like
story
the sounds of that.
Yeah.
So what types of services like are you able to provide for an investor? Let's say like somebody that's looking to maybe do their first flip or try to wholesale a deal. What type of services do you have?
Sure. Well, first off, with the business financing that I was doing, the business and personal financing, 99.7% of my clients needed credit repair. So, because of the need, we do rapid credit repair. It's when I say rapid, it's like 3 to 5 weeks average. Larger files can take a little longer. I've come across some huge files, those could take a little longer still. But yeah, we guarantee our services, and like I said, we have to do that in order to get financing for most of our business and personal finance clients. On the real estate side, like with investors and wholesaling and all that, it's not quite as imperative at all. In fact, they can even do it with bad credit or not even using their credit at all. The difference is going to be in the rates that they get. So, an investor doing a high volume, or really any kind of significant volume, the investment of credit repair, if they need it to get their credit excellent, is going to pay for itself many times over. So I think that could be very useful here, but it's not necessary like it is in the other realm, So that's one of the services. But then financing for like commercial, residential, really. We'll look at any type of property. Yeah, but not obviously not for people looking for their forever home. This would be for investment purposes.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and I have a number of partners. So if it's not something that I can do, then I'll turn to one of my partners and see if we can put something together with them. So
Okay.
yeah.
So you're out here like you're the money lady pretty much. Like if people need money, like you're the person that's reaching out to them like, look, you want some money? Are you trying to get some money for a deal, for your business, for personal? So I'm assuming like you work in all of those types of categories, right? You say?
Yeah, right.
Right,
As
right.
far as, oh, you mean anybody who needs money, basically.
Well, yeah, like personal,
Yeah.
business, and
real estate.
yeah, personal business and real estate.
Exactly. Yeah.
So that's
exactly.
major. That's major right there. I know a lot of
Right.
people in the audience listening or watching this. I know a lot of you guys, y'all need the finances, y'all need the capital, but I think as you mentioned, though, Marni, like the credit repair portion is major. I know most people seem to have like average at best credit, average or bad. It seems like
Very
at least
true.
I don't know. That's what I
What
see
I've
at least.
seen.
So,
Yeah.
so you know, that definitely
Absolutely.
kind of helps out a lot, right?
Well, and also 79% of credit reports have erroneous items on their reports.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen this a number of times. And I've even seen items that didn't belong to people come on, even after we did their repair, and all of a sudden something appears that doesn't belong to them.
Right,
So,
that's interesting.
Yeah, it really is. So I think that whether somebody plans to do credit repair or not, people really definitely need to be aware of what is on their credit report. Because, you don't want to have that affecting you, because it affects everything. It affects if you have a mortgage, it's going to affect your interest rates, financing a car, really anything. So, yeah, it's a big deal. But you're right that the average person doesn't have great credit, and so that's why I consider the credit repair an investment and not an expense, because it truly does pay for itself. And also with the business and personal financing, we really don't want to work with somebody who has less than 700 credit. They're not going to get great rates. We want to get them the best possible rates in terms that we can. So like over 700 up to say about 740, you're going to get the better rates in terms, and then over 740 it's the best. So they're pretty comparable. Once you go under that, now things get dicey, as far as the interest rates and all that. So it pays for itself.
Right, but so that's what you all are doing, is like helping people build up that credit by helping them remove things from off their credit, as well as building up like other sources of credit as well. Is that something that you all do? Is it like just
and that's a good point. You're right. I'm glad you brought that up, actually, because I generally prefer to call it credit restoration, because that's what we do. I mean, there's credit repair and there's credit restoration. Credit restoration includes credit repair. Excuse me. But we also we look at their history, because we want to preserve their good history. So and also a lot of our clients they have what we call thin credit. So we're going to need to build their credit before we can get them financed. So like if they have less than 3 cards, we're going to need to after the repair process, put at least to get them up to 3 cards, we need to put those on their account. So we'll have them open up a couple of secured cards, and then there's one $5,000 limit card that we'll also recommend, because that gives them more borrowing power. Because if your highest limit card is like $200 or $500, you're not going to get much lending. You're not going to get much from anybody. So
So speaking of that, real quick, like, so I know that you mentioned like the rates, right? So like that's what's most important when it comes to the real estate aspect if someone wants to kind of get their credit better. So I'm wondering, like, what would kind of be like the difference, if you notice, at least, I'm not sure, but like, what would be the difference between someone with like a 580 credit score versus like that 740 as far as like rates or like what they would end up paying over the course of
Interest
this
rates.
mortgage? Or do you know?
Right. Yeah. You know, and I want to dig into that a little more because I was told 3%, but I that sounds a little low to me, honestly.
Like you mean like 3% is like the lowest rate that you can get, like
No,
around the lowest rate?
that it would vary by 3%.
Oh, okay.
Right.
But
But
that adds up though, like crazy, right? Like
oh my
3%
gosh,
over
I
the
mean,
course of a mortgage is crazy, right?
yeah, especially here. I live in, Seattle, Washington. Things are
Right.
quite expensive here. And that's why I say, I mean, with the credit repair, our rates are quite reasonable too. So you're paying whatever it is, to repair your credit. It's like 25 per inquiry, 50 per account kind of thing. So,
Right.
and in the long run, you're going to save thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
Right.
And we want people to maintain that good credit now too. So we work with them on, it's very simple. I mean, there are very simple ways to not only keep your credit excellent, but get it climbing up into the 800s. And honestly, anything beyond 740 is bragging rights, but
Right.
it's nice to have those bragging rights, and it looks really good. Right. And it's really super simple stuff. And, I'm not going to name names, but some of the repair places, they don't tell people that because it's not in their best interest to, these
To
are
help
the
them to
customers.
that level.
But I don't want them to keep coming. I don't want to have to keep cleaning them. I'll do it, but I say but I outsource that. So my partner, we work together, and So,
but that makes sense though. Like you don't want just people to just have to continually keep paying. Like they want to be paying for that one-time event where like that credit just got boosted.
I want them to have great credit and keep their credit great and all of that. I mean, we want to get them into a situation where they can not even need to mess up their credit financially speaking, because that's what happens a lot of times. It's or they get into a really high utilization situation that can also affect credit. So but we do business with people in so many different ways. We don't want to necessarily have them be repeat credit repair clients, but we will certainly, we have clients who are, so we're not going to turn them away, but we will tell you how to not do that, how to keep it great, how to keep your credit excellent.
So why don't you tell me a little bit more about like business finance and like what kind of goes into that? And then because I know that you mentioned like on a call with me before or whatever, that people could use business credit to potentially do deals. If I'm not mistaken, I think you said that.
Yeah,
so maybe you can like tell the audience a little bit more about that, like how would the process works, what's the timeline, things like that.
Sure. So with business financing, that is true. You can use that for a down payment on a house. You can use it really for any purpose. Obviously, again, it's got to be an investment. Well, no, you can't. I'm sorry.
It'd probably be smartest to have it as an investment, though, right?
Yeah. No, you can use it for both. Somebody who wants to move into a house for themselves, they can. So sorry, I had that wrong.
No. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, you can use it for both. Whereas with personal finance, you cannot. So
gotcha.
like you're not going to put a down payment on your personal credit card. So, but so there's a couple of different ways that we can go about that. And business credit does not rely as heavily on your personal credit at all, but they do again look at the score, and that is going to be a factor. And also what I've seen a lot of is people who have derogatory things or liens or something like that is dead in the water. So we have to work with that situation too. So sometimes what we'll do is we'll get them personal financing first so that they can then pay off that lien, and and then do whatever else we might need to do to bring them to the
Right.
business table, or they might just be ready once that's paid off.
Right. So you take like a personalized approach to each person's situation.
The case by case basis.
Right.
Yes,
Right.
exactly.
So like typically I wonder like how long does that typically take a person to build up like business credit enough to actually be able to put a down payment on something?
Sure, that's a great question. I'm glad you asked, because I should mention that the other service we offer several things actually, so sometimes I
That's
forget
good.
to mention it all.
Oh no, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, so business credit building, we have a business credit builder program where we help you to build that, because that's really going to be between that, and there's other factors too, like your revenue or income and your highest card limit and things like that.
Okay, right.
Those factors are going to determine how much you can get. So now, somebody who has an in-revenue business and they have a decent enough, income or collateral, and the numbers are right, we can get them funding. We can get them business funding right away, and then with this program that we have, we can build their business credit, and then they'll actually build up how much financing they can get over time. So there's a couple of different ways that we do it, and doing it that way. Now I will say a lot of that's going to be vendor credit. It's going to be vendor credit, lines of credit, cash credit, unsecured loans. So it's going to be various types of vehicles like that.
But you help people like kind of establish those accounts, like you help them like, are y'all like just telling them like start up this account, or are you like manually going in and getting them formed like as a part of the service?
So yeah, great question. So there's you're full of great questions. Well,
I'm asking for myself almost. I'm like I'm interested myself. So like tell me more. Like
right.
Seriously.
Awesome. Yeah. Well, so with the business credit builder program, you're actually we have a do-it-yourself, and we also have the coaching program where we take you by the hand and we walk you through the whole process.
Okay.
So it depends on how fancy you want to get, because it's all the same stuff. It's just so you're guided every step of the way. Because the thing is that like over 90% of the cards do not report to the business credit bureaus. So we have to start with those that do, or that's what we're working with. So, I mean, something that can be a little bit annoying about it is that some of these cards that you have to get, because you have to spend a little something, they can be from places that you don't need those things. But that's not the point. The point isn't to buy stuff that you have no use for. It's to build your business credit. That's it. So you can turn around and sell it on eBay, or, I mean, I think I got like a year's worth of toilet paper or something on, you'll find something. So
it makes sense.
So with that, you are guided in terms of every last, detail and what cards to apply for and all that. With the regular business funding, you're just applying for funding, and they'll have to look at everything, your taxes, your bank statements, all of that, a lot of details. But then they, you either qualify or you don't, and if you do, then you'll qualify for whatever rate that the numbers dictate, basically.
Right. Okay, and then you said like since it's a business loan, depending on the size of it, at least you could take a portion of that income and be able to invest yourself into some properties.
Absolutely, yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah,
so,
this is really interesting. I'm sure that a lot of people that's listening to this are trying to think of like creative ways to kind of get into some deals, as well as just building up their personal credit, their business credit. I'm always saying that like it's really about real estate, business, and credit. I think that those are like really, really important. There's a guy named Jay Morrison. He always talks about he calls them the RBCs, you know, the real estate business and credit, like the RBCs of
Yeah.
life. And it just makes sense, you
Wow.
know, those are like very,
Right.
very important. So
Right.
I'm glad to hear that like your
Absolutely.
service seems like it's like a one-stop shop for the
Kind of
RBCs
is.
essentially, you
Yeah.
know?
Well, honestly, when I brought the real estate part in, that kind of changed everything for me. Because
Yeah.
the thing is, with the business credit, I mean, while yes, you can get business funding, the thing is, it's not going to be, unless you're really, really like have a whole lot of revenue coming in, or are
Right.
wealthy, it may not
Right.
be enough. So that's where the real estate financing part comes in, and that's a
Right.
whole other animal, really, because now we're talking, we can go up into the millions, and that, is harder to do with the business financing, though not unheard of, but,
Right. So
yeah.
so why don't you tell me a little bit more about like how we were talking about, like you were telling me that essentially like with you getting into wholesaling, that like
Yes.
you wanted to be able to do deals with other wholesalers. Like tell me like how you plan on working with
Oh,
wholesalers and
right.
whatnot, or
Okay.
like the options that you have for wholesalers themselves.
Right. Well, okay. So how I wasn't even thinking about wholesaling. But one of the things that I can do now is I am able to JV with somebody and extend 100% financing, so they don't have to bring. So there's no down payment. I'll cover the purchase price, the rehab costs, the closing costs, and they just have to cover the monthly interest. And so
Right.
originally that was my idea, was to find people who wanted that, or like, so I can do that, but I can also do up to 70% of ARV, or up to 90% of purchase price, whichever is less, for things that I'm not going to JV on. So I was
Okay.
interested in finding wholesalers who needed those services, and then I realized, yeah, they not only need those services, but they need houses too. And, to be
Right.
natural, I'm opening up the conversation as a whole. And I was like, I realized pretty much immediately that I'm probably going to need to wholesale houses too, because I don't want to call people
Right.
and say, hi, do you need financing? It's just too,
Yeah.
creepy.
Yeah.
And so I started like that. That's why I reached out to you. I was like, okay, I need to talk to somebody who can help me with this.
Right.
And then there you were. So
Yeah. So
um,
I'm glad to have you on board.
thank
So
you.
yeah, for
Thank
the
you very
audience
much.
members who don't know, Marni is one of my coaching clients. I am helping her along the way on actually building out the wholesaling business right now. So, but yeah, like it
I'm
was
so
really, really
excited.
intriguing. Oh yeah, I appreciate you. I got you. I'm here for you. You already know.
I'm telling you, the prayer's working, so I'll just keep going with it.
But yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
was really. Oh, go ahead. What you
uh,
say?
no, you got it.
Well, I was just gonna say that
I'll
like
defer to you.
I was really intrigued like when you started talking about how you wanted to work with wholesalers as well, and like 100% financing if you're JVing on a deal, or
Right.
70% of ARV, or 90%. Well, it was 90% of what was it? What was the
Of
90%?
purchase price, or whatever's
90%
left.
right,
Yeah.
whichever is less, right? So
Right.
like you started talking like that, I'm like, oh yeah, definitely. Like the audience needs this. So I hope
Wow.
that if you guys are listening, if you're watching, just know that like these are the type of services, these are the type of people that you want to be networking with, guys. You want to be talking to people just like Marni. But look, I've got Marni right here, guys. You can hear what she's saying. You can see her personality. You can get to know her right here on this session. So feel free to reach out. She's available to help you. And like she just said, she will literally JV with you on a deal. You guys got to reach out if you're trying to get into these more creative types of ways to actually do deals, and just make sure that you're out here networking with people just like Marni. I really, really mean that. Like for real. Like networking is everything. So you guys got to take advantage.
Gosh, you're so right on that. I mean, it's like, you have to build a team. You cannot do this without a team. I mean, if somebody's doing it without a team, more power to them, but I don't even know if it's possible, really.
Right, not more than maybe like a couple deals. I can see like maybe 5 if you're super lucky, but like you're burning the candle at both ends for sure if you're doing that much volume with just one person. Like, you're literally killing yourself almost. So teams are almost required to actually be consistent out here. Seriously.
It's amazing because it's like we need each other. You know, and we really do. I mean, I think in life we do need each other. We're, you know, we're meant to be able to work together and serve each other and all that. So in this industry, at least, you know, this niche, it definitely is the case. And to me, that's really exciting. You know, it's just I don't know. I personally love it. You know, so I'm really glad actually. See, I wasn't planning to get into real estate. I was planning just to finance real estate. So I don't know which I'm more excited about now, honestly. But being able to do it all is what's really, you know, I guess, inspiring me. And honestly, like the calls that I'm making to people, it's like they're waiting to hear from me. I mean, what cold calls are the people waiting to hear from you? I have not had an unpleasant conversation yet, knock on wood. I hope I don't, but they're all, you know,
Well, look, people that's listening, how many times have you had a lender calling you asking like, hey, can I give you some money? Like, Marni is a rare breed out here. So that's why the conversations are so good, because you're literally calling people, asking them if you could put money in their pocket. That's like an angel calling them. They like, what? What? You calling me to put money in my, I need some money for so-and-so, you know? So people, you know, I think that a lot of people are gonna, you know, be appreciative of what you have to offer. I really believe that. It's a very unique value proposition on top of that, you know?
Right. Well, I mean, again, the funny thing is, though, that while that is true, I can't approach the conversation like that. Like, hi, I'm a real estate financer. Do you or your customers, like, it's, and that's why I want to come across as, hey, you know, I'm also in the same business, and I you know, we kind of do the same thing, you know, and approach them from that angle about bringing them houses. I'd like to bring you something, and oh, by the way, you know, so it's just in the natural course of conversation.
Yeah, it's like a great segue over into financing, kind of like, you know, I'm looking to build my buyer's list, but you know, if you need some money for this deal as well, I can finance this deal and find it for you.
Right.
That's next level. I don't know of any lenders out there that's actually offering that, like zero. At least personally, I don't know any personally that's offering to finance and find a deal for you. I mean, that's a pretty good deal.
Right.
Don't get too much better than that, to be 100% honest, you know?
Now that's
a
funny,
full service
that
business.
you should say that actually like that, because because I was thinking more like, hey, they have a deal under contract, but they really need financing. They want to get something under contract, but they need financing. But you're right. I can actually, you know, although I don't necessarily need them if I, so.
Right.
But I can find something for them. And you know, the 70% or 90% thing I can do all day long. I mean, you know, the other,
that's
I'll
a blessing.
extend one at a time for right now, you know, that'll grow with time, but you know, but so I wanted to be something that I'm really, really interested in, that's going to have a nice return for us both, you know, and that we can close quickly on, you know, as
makes sense. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, well, I'm sure that it's going to be a decent amount of people probably reaching out to you after we actually get this online at some point. I'm sure there's going to be some people reaching out.
Well,
guys, feel free
I can help somebody. I mean, because, I mean, I don't know you know, I don't know if people would know about me. My SEO isn't great, so you know. I appreciate the opportunity to, you know, for you to like give me a voice and like kind of introduce myself. And if there is anybody that I can help, that's what I'm here for. And we're in the same industry. So, you know, maybe they can help me too. I mean, because I I need different players on my team as well.
Right. So
you know.
speaking of that, like, have you ever, like, I know that plenty wholesalers out here that's listening to this right now. And just so you know, there's like thousands of people listen to the podcast or watch the YouTube videos or whatever. So tons of people check this out. I'm sure that a lot of them have buyers or are buyers themselves that are going to need financing. So speaking of that, real quick, before I forget, how could someone get in contact with you if they actually wanted to, you know, get your services in any way, shape, or form, or just work with you, or however? Like, what's the best way for them to get in contact with you? And I'll put the links down in the description of the video or the podcast or however you're watching it.
Okay, thank you. Well, so normally I'm a phone person, but I realize my phone might blow up. I don't know how many people are watching this, so you can email me too. And then I have a website. So yes, I really like to connect people with on the phone. I can do Skype as well, FaceTime or whatever. I like that. And or you know, as far as email, like I'm not going to get into great detail on email. I type with one finger, so not gonna, you know, but I'll do a little bit by email, you know, as far as that goes. And you know, basic questions or whatever that somebody might have, just see if you know, I can help them. And then, you know, my website, Marchant.
What's the website name? Oh, you said Marchant Solutions?
Solutions.com. Yes.
Boom. Okay. So I'll make sure that I link that down below. And once we hop off of here, like once it's over with, then I'll grab the phone number from you that you want them to call. I'll put it down there, as well as the email address and all of that good stuff. So it'll just be in the links. Check out the links, guys, if you're listening to watching. Y'all know what to do. But
appreciate that.
Okay. So real quick, I kind of wrote down some things to kind of, you know, make sure I'm getting out some thoughts or whatever.
Right.
So okay, so a couple quick questions. Actually, yeah, you know, I'm probably gonna save that one. I'm just thinking, like, okay, so like, I know that you want to be able to help investors, you want to work with wholesalers, you're out here in the field, you're lending, you're kind of getting into things yourself on the real estate end. I know you had mentioned like another creative way to kind of work real estate outside of wholesaling per se. It was like the more expensive properties. Why don't you tell them a little bit more about that? I know you were talking about that in advance too.
Right. So actually, before I met you, before I, you know, started Googling wholesale, or was it right at the same time? I was like, well, when I got when I got into real estate financing, I was like, okay, somehow or another, I need to connect back with the, you know, real estate now. And just a little segue, I had done it before, rather unsuccessfully, had a couple kind of nightmare experiences and stuff, and then got out of it, right? So, the guy's gonna have to cut it here. I just lost my fucking train of thought.
I got you. Hey, Waba, look, you know what to do, Waba. Go ahead, just chop this up, brother.
Thank
you.
Just
go ahead, just chop that and start it back up where we started again. No worries, though. No worries. It happens. I know how it is.
I think
it happens to me sometimes.
Nightmare experiences, my mind.
The segue. You're right. I know how it is. But no, you was talking about the other real estate investing strategy.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. No worries.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. So start it back up right here, Waba. Start it back up right there. There we go. Whenever you're ready.
So when I decided to get back into real estate after a very tumultuous, you know, beginning with it and then giving up on it, but during that time, I got a course by John and Stephanie Iannotti, CAT's React system. It's brilliant. And Ron LeGrand, actually, they trained with Ron LeGrand, and he gave them a plug for their system, because basically what they did was they realized, and they were doing a lot of wholesaling, and they realized just how much money they were leaving on the table, because they were leaving all these properties that if they couldn't get it for like, 50 cents on the dollar, they were walking away. And so it's this strategy where you basically, now you're going after like the retail market. And so you want to go after like homes, median or higher, and you can go as high end as you want. And the buyers that you're working with, or that they like to call funders, are retail. So you do have to, they're looking for their home, forever home or whatever. They're not generally investors. I mean, we can work with investors certainly, but we're more looking for people who want a home. So those buyers or funders are good. Those last for about 30, 45 days. So you have to continually like refresh this. But basically what you're doing is, you're really giving the seller what they want, at least initially. If you get the best price you can, but a lot of them are going to want fair market value. So you give them what they want. You put that under contract. You ask if they are open to creative terms. If they are, awesome. And but you don't let them tell you what you just want to find out if they are. And then you come back with, if a funder is interested, what they're offering, and they might just go for the full fair market. I mean, that doesn't, even with realtors and all, it's, they usually want something less. So so they'll come back and either, take it at that price, want a lower price, want to do creative terms, or not be interested.
So it sounds like you all are kind of like, do you have like brokers on the team? Do you have like real estate brokers on the team? Okay, because I was about to say, it almost sounds like.
Oh, exactly.
Google was just talking.
I can't list these houses. I can't.
I was just thinking that, right?
By real estate.
So it's like you all are like looking for retail properties, and then it's like the higher end, the better, essentially. So, and then is it like an assignment fee, or are we just like listing these and then we just getting a commission?
Yeah, so we don't assign. And we'll look at junkers too, sure, totally. Like, we're not going to say no to junkers. We'll do wholesale, but that's not really what we're targeting. We're targeting everything, as long as it's not listed.
So then, are you all listing them after that, or you're just directly connecting them to an actual buyer?
Well, so we're not putting it on the MLS, but the realtor will list it in the various places where they can list it. And then we have our buyers list, but as I said, it doesn't last for very long, right? So go under their name. And then, before we actually close the deal, we do actually put it in our name, and then so we have. So
you all are doing like a double closing there on the high end properties and just upselling them in between there.
Right.
Okay, yeah. I like that. I like that. So Marni, in all reality, I think that's like a lot of what I really wanted to talk to you about. I wonder, like, if there was one thing though that like you could tell the audience members, like one piece of advice for like a newbie investor, a newbie, like somebody who maybe their credit is bad, they're just finding out about wholesaling, they really want to create a legacy for themselves and their families. Like, what would be your best genuine advice for literally somebody just getting started out here that wants to eventually own real estate, have some credit established, and kind of live that life like that?
Wow. Well, I love that question. I mean, for me, the number one most important thing in this game is having a great coach, honestly, because I tried to do it before, and like I think I explained, I had a couple disasters, and I mean, I took these expensive trainings and all that, but I didn't really have a one-on-one coach. Like, like you, you know, and I got really overwhelmed and overloaded with information. I got really confused, and I spun around in a lot of circles, and I really didn't get anywhere. So number one, my gosh, if you're not working with this guy, yes, you need to, or somebody that, you know, that, you know, but I mean, I've had also not so great experiences with other coaches, or just to where, I don't know, I didn't have the personal with you. I'm like, you said that you are an extension of my team, and you really are. Like, you're you're actually,
I'm out here with you.
You're what I've been saying to the universe that I need. Somebody who's going to work side by side with me on this, please. And so to me, it makes or breaks it, you know, because well, that's where it gets into mindset, okay? Because I believe that mindset is like, well, they say 80%, it's 80% mindset, 20% technique. That couldn't be more true. And if you have a negative mindset or you have you know, doubt, you know, it's going to be a struggle, and I can only speak from a lot of experience. And so, yes. And so I would say, get a great coach like Ed, and feed your mind, number one, with like really positive information. Like my very favorite, and I have a lot that I love, but Neville Goddard kind of begins and ends with him for me. But I've listened to many greats, but so feed your mind, and kind of, you know, you need to be in a positive mindset in order to for this to flow, and to not have it be a really uphill battle. I would say number one, and or number one and two, they go together. You know, and also educate yourself, and that's what the coach is going to help with, and like, taking action. And it's really easy to get into inertia, and so and so one thing I picked up from Brendan Burchard on that is go for 50 minutes, and then take 10 minutes to stretch, to just take a break, but then get back in, because, you know, you can have the best mindset in the world, but if you're not taking action, then nothing happens. So these three all go together: the guidance, the mindset, and the action go together. And
I love it.
And just having a can-do attitude, and there's other factors. So if your credit's not great, and you will be borrowing money at all, you'll definitely want to get that fixed. Like I said, the process we use, it's typically 3 to 5 weeks. It can take longer, and we do guarantee it. So I mean, we back up our work. So if it doesn't work out, if I don't want to get too deep into detail, but we refund half of your money if we're not able to do something within a certain period of time. We've never had to refund anybody, but
that's a great guarantee then.
Yeah, it really is. It just shows that we believe in our work. We stand behind our work. Now, I will say we don't work on bankruptcies, so we have a couple partners that we can refer people to if they have bankruptcies, and bankruptcies can take longer, and they're also much more difficult to remove. So, but still, like a 50 to 70% chance of having it removed. So there is
a pretty decent opportunity.
yeah, and so that's going to, you know, definitely save you. It's going to be an investment that will pay for itself, like I said, many times over. And then like build a team, of course, and that's what, you know, that's what, like your course, it's, and coaching with you, that's what you're teaching me step by step to do. So I'm just kind of, you've made it kind of paint by numbers. You know, I'm not going to say simple, but you have made it as close to paint by numbers as I've ever seen.
I'm glad.
Yeah, and you have simplified it, but there's a lot of moving parts. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what I think. I love the advice though. I love the advice of making sure that you're taking action and actually having like a actual game plan, working with a coach and somebody that can lead you to the destiny versus just trying to figure it out all on your own and taking all of that extra time. And so, yeah, I think that's really, really good advice too, especially with the credit repair. And it's people like you that actually help people get the credit, because credit is like king. That's like the beginning. Like it starts with the credit, and then you can actually start getting the things that you're trying to get out here, essentially.
Right.
Even capital, I think that's important as well. Like if you're trying to build your credit, you probably gonna need some capital. So if you're making like a very low amount of income, you probably may want to look for a better job or like additional sources of income to kind of speed up the process.
Exactly.
So wholesaling can actually be good for that as well, actually. Wholesaling is kind of like the ATM. So it's a perfect way to kind of start building up those finances when you're just getting started. And I would say, like, don't be desperate for a deal, because it tends to be much harder to actually get one when you're like thirsty for it. But when you're kind of just balanced and like you feel positive, like you said, like those positive emotions is 80% mindset, 20% technique. That's just a fact. I mean, I have to tell people all the time, like, just think positive. You're not bothering anyone. Like, just make the calls, be consistent, call enough people, and just like, just keep going every day until you actually see that result. So I think that's really, really great advice. Seriously. Yep. I tell people those things all the time.
Yeah. Well, you said that's your superpower. And so I need to be around that superpower, because I'm not going to say that's my superpower. I mean, I do it, but it's not my superpower.
Right. The taking action part you're talking about, right? That's what you're talking about, right?
I have to really have to push. Now, once I get into it and get into the flow and rhythm, now it becomes easy, and time actually flies by. Especially I love these phone calls. Like I'm like, Santa Claus or something. So it does. When you're doing something that's enjoyable and you're well received, then the action becomes pleasurable. So I think that's the other thing you and I were talking about earlier before we even began was like outsourcing, firing yourself from as many tasks as you possibly can to do the things that you do best, and really they should be the money making activities. Like, so for me that would be being on the phone and connecting with people, putting the deals together. There's I can't fire myself from everything, but I can fire myself from most of it, and increase the volume of what I do by not having to do these like $15 an hour jobs,
Right. And I say that too. It's like, that's the difference between being an entrepreneur, being a business owner. Like an entrepreneur is one person getting everything done. A business is a collection of individuals, essentially. So like you said, like hiring on people that like so you can do what you love to do and you're best at, but also you're hiring on people who are best and really good at the things that you don't like. So like you're terrible at this, so you hire someone who's amazing at it and they love doing it. And that's what a business is, versus you just trying to be everybody. That's an entrepreneur. It's like you can be an entrepreneur, but at some point people want to start scaling. People want more. They want to employ people. They actually want to be able to take a month off of their job, because like when you're an entrepreneur, you pretty much own a job. So like until you actually start outsourcing, I mean, you pretty much own a job. It's just another job until you hire other people. And that's how it is.
So true.
Yeah.
It's so
and people
true.
who have jobs already are kind of not prepared for that a lot of times. So user beware. Just know that you will be working like it's a whole other job until things kind of get off the road on its own.
No, that is 100% accurate. Yeah. That's spot on, and ultimately, I mean, you know, ultimately, if you can then like become the bank, you know, to where you're building your capital to where now, you know, you can be the bank. I mean, I think that ultimately is the place to get to, you know,
I
as far
agree.
as that goes. And, you know,
So we could
wise.
be out here loaning money like you, Marni. I see you
There
out
you
here.
go.
Hey, nah, that's what we all headed. Look, we out here. We want to be able to be the bank. You know, I feel like that is powerful, though. It really, really is powerful once you've gotten to that position. Not to mention just like the family security, the financial security, to just know that you've got something that, whether you're there or not, is still bringing in income. That's a blessing for anybody. Seriously.
Right.
So,
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, you know, it's a material world we live in, and we do have to, you know, work with that reality, and you know,
yeah.
and so like, I think if you can handle that, doing something that you really enjoy, I mean, that is one of the best joys of life, I would say.
Yeah.
Doing work that you really
Yeah.
love and feeling like you're making a difference and serving, you know, serving the world, serving people in a really important way, you know.
Yes.
So
Seriously. Impact. You want to be making an impact out here. Seriously. And I think that like having those finances really allows us to have an impact. And honestly, I believe without it, we aren't able to really live our lives as abundantly as we're supposed to. So I feel like to really be living your life to the fullest, to a certain degree, you have to pursue finances to a certain degree. So then you know
right,
that you're safe, you're secure, your family is secure, and you could be moving forward and creating a legacy. I don't think that we're just on this planet just to be here and die. Like, I'm pretty sure all of
exactly,
us have something inside of us that we're supposed to leave on this planet. And if we
right.
don't, I mean, I feel like if we're not pursuing financial freedom, then we're not allowing ourselves to really live that abundant life like we're all supposed to live. Because you can't do it without finances, no matter what it is. You can
Right.
be great at anything, but if you don't have fun, one of my best friends was literally like one of the greatest wrestlers in the nation. And like when we were in high school, he had the option to go to the Olympics. But when they invite you to the Olympics, at least 10 or 12 years ago, it cost like $3,500 or so to go to the Olympics. Like he had to pay to go to the Olympics. It's not free. So those people that you see at the Olympics are paying for it. So it's like if you don't have finances, you literally can't even live your best life like was set out for you. It's crazy. You know, you miss out on so
So
many opportunities
true.
without it. You
I
could be the
know, it's
greatest.
so true. And it's like it can be very so frustrating. And yet
Yeah.
I believe that, you know, there's a bigger picture there. And I think the bigger picture is, you know, finding what it is that you know, came here to do, what you're here to do,
True.
how you were meant to serve. And you know, I've tried so many different things, and what I found is that, you know, when you're doing work that you don't really enjoy, you really feel like you're just chasing the money because you got to pay rent. But
Mm-hmm.
so when you find something that you're really enjoying as well, now I can feel more, I don't know, just in alignment with myself and the universe and my purpose
Yeah.
here. And the money is a byproduct. And
Right.
I have struggled hard to find that. And honestly, I'm a little bit surprised at the field that I find myself in, because it's not something I ever thought about or really that,
Right.
you know, thought that I would find myself in. But, you know, you try enough things and you'll eventually find the
Yeah.
fit, you know? I
That's
mean,
so
I think
true.
for some people, the path may be way more clear cut than it was for me. I know for my
Right.
brother, it's a way more clear, you know, he just found his passion. And so, you know, for some people, it may be really, really clear. They know from an early age what they want to do. And for some people like me, have really, there were just too many things that I wanted to do, actually.
Mm-hmm.
So I
Mm-hmm.
think I and I tended to get really scattered. I chased pretty much every shiny object.
Same, same.
Yeah, right. Wow. So
Yeah,
you know, and
I feel
actually,
like that's very common, honestly. Yeah, I feel like to a certain degree, it's a good thing. At the end of the day, we're taking in data. So it's like we've got to throw enough stuff at the wall to see what really sticks with us. Because you got to feel good, but you also got to try it long enough to know whether you're just psyching yourself out. Like, am I just telling myself that this isn't for me because it's hard? Or like, is it really not for me? So it's like you kind of got to stay in it for long enough, which means that, you know, the more you test, the more time it's going to take.
That is true. Well, and
Yeah.
that's why, like I said, I'm surprised that I came back to real estate, because after my, you know, very gnarly experience with it, I never, you know, thought I would do it again. I was like, oh, you know. So, and now I'm really excited about it. I guess I'm more excited about the combination of how they all kind of fit together. It's like having all the pieces of the puzzle really now.
Right.
Is what it feels like. So yeah, I'm kind of a natural multitasker, which they say is not a great thing, but I thrive on a lot of you know, variety, I suppose, and yeah, I was focusing just on one thing. It just never really seemed to work out. But when I do several different things, and that's when, so everybody's path is different, and you know, so it's a very individual thing.
I say that all the time, you know, like what you can't like judge yourself based on what other people have done. Like, I don't care what nobody else has going on. I don't care what they think about what I have going on, because at the end of the day, I'm the only person going in that box when I pass away. So I have to live my legacy. I don't care what nobody thinks about it. It's all good.
So true.
But in general, though, I think that it's super important also to kind of have your eye on the prize at all times. So just like having that vision of the future, and then kind of just taking those consistent steps to actually get to those goals that we have. I feel like that's the whole game in all reality. Any of us can do this. Even when it comes to building up the credit or getting business financing, whatever it is, everything has a step-by-step plan. And in this day and age, like pretty much all knowledge known to mankind is free. And then if you can't get it for free, well, pretty much guaranteed you can get all knowledge for free now. But you also have people to help you along the way, like me, like a Marni. Like, there's people out here that will literally walk you through everything in life. So I feel like in 2020, it's literally no excuses. If you're not living your best life out here, you're doing something wrong, honestly. Because like we pretty much all can now. It's like all the limits are gone. Anybody can live their best life. Anybody can have multiple streams of income. Anybody can do it. So I hope that you all, like if you're listening to this, if you're watching this, that, you know, that you all are gaining some value from me and Marni's conversation. But also, I hope that after you listen to this or watch this, that you go out there and take action. Make this be one of the last podcasts that you listen to that, like, you don't go take action. Like, make sure you go take action after this one. Let this be the last one. Let this be the one that just fuels you into action. If it's reaching out to me, if it's reaching out to Marni, like if you going on websites to research how to build up your credit, whatever it may be, just like start taking action. It's all it really boils down to. Nobody that you see on this podcast is like some superhuman or like some type of extra special individual. All of our stories are the same. So like all you got to do is get out here and really, really want it. Like your life depended on it. If it's just like, oh, well, I'm comfortable because I've got this job, so maybe I'll do it. You're not going to get there. That's not enough energy and passion towards what it is that you're looking for to actually get it. And you got to sow those seeds of action to actually get back what you're looking for. Seriously. So, you know, I don't want to get too philosophical. You know, I'll start getting deep out here real fast.
It's no, but it's so true, and it just, to me, it's a reminder that like every moment is a potential new beginning, because we might have had a pattern, or for me, you know, just like my past, like there's a lot that I would have done differently. And sometimes that, you know, it almost the past can come back to try to haunt us and all that, but we could totally just put it in the past, leave it in the past, and know that really I can declare this moment a new beginning. It's funny we're saying it today, you know, when it is the first day of the new year.
Right.
Because honestly, I'm not all that big on the whole, you know,
The holidays in general. I know I'm personally not a big fan of holidays. I feel like holidays are for consumers. I'm a producer, so I don't really get into holidays. Just like I have sales on the holidays. Like, holler at me to get a sale on the holiday. I'm not trying to go do nothing special. Like, that's about it.
Exactly. Right.
But yeah, I know what you mean, though. New beginnings.
So just know that, you know, even if up till now nothing worked, you failed, and you made a million mistakes, that you have a new opportunity to do it right. I guess maybe if I can throw out a book recommendation.
Feel free.
Since we're on the subject, and it's very it's a very, very short book.
Let's get some value. What you got?
Yes. Well, and I really like audiobooks, so I've listened to this book countless times. It's by Neville Goddard. It's called Feeling is the Secret. This book is a game changer. Now, and I will say, I am not a religious person. I am a spiritual person in my own right, but I'm not a religious person. And he does talk about God a lot, but he says that God is the imagination. And I just, that's a new one for me. So
that's like one of them deep topics, you know, that I'm glad that you gave them the disclaimer, because some people will start hearing stuff like, oh no, I can't do this. Like, that's the devil. I can't, you know, so just disclaimer right there. You're going to hear some alternative thoughts.
I mean, talk about, you know, I don't listen to really religious stuff. I mean, I'll hear it sometimes in passing, and I can even appreciate some of it, but I'm not a religious person. But man, it really, for me, what it did is all the books that I've read and listened to, like, you know, Think and Grow Rich and The Science of Getting Rich, and you could tell I've you know, definitely studied this topic, and it seemed like, you know, I was like giving it lip service, and this is a great idea, but not really living it, like, you know, doing that yet, thinking my same old thoughts, until I met Neville, and it was like, oh my God, it just clicked. And so 20 years of you know, knowing this stuff, but not really applying it. Now I'm finally applying. And it is not necessarily easy, I will tell you that. It's almost like an Olympic sport. You get to, like, play make-believe and use your imagination.
I like that. That's a good way to kind of think about it.
And be really positive and feel really good. Like, these simple things that we need to do, but they're not so simple.
So true.
Interestingly, it's a lot easier to think negative and to feel not so good, and like, you know what I mean?
It's interesting. I think guys, like, look, if y'all listening, go check out these books. Like, seriously, it will expand your brain. And I know for me personally, like, reading books has been like a enormous factor in my overall growth and success in life, is because I've consumed so much content from some of the greatest people to ever live on the planet. So I feel like if you're learning, you got to watch who your mentors are. Essentially, you can't teach what you don't know, right? So you can't just get your knowledge from anyone, because most people are just like dumping like poison into your thought factory. You got to like kind of put a barrier on your thoughts and make sure that you're only learning from people you know, who are giving you all those gems, essentially. You got to be learning from people who know what they're talking about and they're where you want to be, essentially. Like, just purely learn from people who are where you want to be, or who can help you get there. Because you can't teach what you don't know. So whoever you're learning from needs to be there, and then just watch and repeat whatever they're doing. You don't even have to overthink this stuff, honestly, a lot of times.
So true. It's more about maybe even getting out of the way. Really?
Yeah, exactly. You know? And taking action when the universe is telling you to, like, actually taking action. Like, the universe be telling, like, look, you need to do this. take action. Like, this is your opportunity. You can feel the energy rising up inside of you. You got to act right then. Don't be scared. Like, it's going to require people to be vulnerable. You're not going to get there and just everything is all peaches and cream. That's a fantasy. That is not reality.
I know, but the fact of the matter is, honestly, that now that I have you as my coach, I'm not scared. I was like, wow, you eliminated for me the biggest stumbling block, which was, well, doubt and fear, doubt in myself and you know, doubt that I can do this and fear that I can't. And then with you, I'm like, basically I have to try not to do this if like I'd have to make an effort to mess it up with you as the coach. So you know, for me personally, that's just huge. I mean, it's priceless.
I'm glad.
Plus, your rates are the most reasonable I've ever seen. So, I know you do it from the heart. It's about just really helping people, because I know you could make 10 times more doing it if you wanted to. You could charge more if you wanted to. Easily. I mean, people charge way more. And actually, honestly, I've taken some of their courses and I'm getting a lot more with you. So, I mean, you know,
well, I'm glad to hear that. It means a lot to me. I appreciate that.
They're great and their stuff is great and all that, but it's like, so I don't know. You're just, you know, you call yourself the wholesale coach, but you're also the wholesale angel.
Oh, look, I appreciate that. That means a lot. That means a lot. You know. Yeah. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I do try to do my best out here. Like, I genuinely try to come from the heart. You know. All of my clients who may be watching this, y'all guys know I'm always saying, like, look, lean on me as much as possible. I'm here for you. Let's make it happen. If I got to hop on calls, whatever it is, y'all know I'm right here. But I'm not even going to lie, though. Honestly, like, I might as well just tell the audience, anybody that's actually, you know, still watching, you guys are, you know, obviously part of the core audience here, right? So, like, I'm actually going to be kind of cutting back on my coaching services a little bit in 2020, actually, because I'm going to be ramping up my own personal wholesaling business to, like, the next level. So at any given time, I'm probably only going to have, like, 3 to 5 clients in 2020. So, like, the people, like, the last round of individuals who kind of came in 2019, like, that's pretty much like the last, like, round of people that's probably ever going to be just, like, coming in like mass or whatever, you know? Ooh, look, I'm kicking my stuff around. So, but yeah. So yeah, things are going to be getting cut back. I'm going to be cutting back a lot of services and things like that, because I'm really going to be taking some of my own advice, essentially, like simplifying things, and instead of going with more depth on just a few things versus having every service, trying to help everybody in every situation. I'm trying to get real kind of niched down myself in my own business. So, yep.
And I'm not going anywhere. So my spot is going to be
oh, yeah. You solid. You locked in. You know, there ain't no worries at all.
Oh, my God.
So, yeah.
Good
but Marni, look, I'm really, really, you know, excited that you came onto the podcast. I really want to be able to get this out soon, honestly. So, like, y'all know we're recording this on the 1st, so I'm probably going to try to get this out, like, in the next couple days. Most likely, I usually do, like, a Friday upload. Probably put it on the podcast tomorrow, maybe even, who knows, right? Wow. But I want to get this out real soon to the audience so they can, you know, they can actually hear this and whatnot. And, you know, you could be able to help some people as well. I definitely, like, remember, like, when we first had our very first conversation, within like 7 minutes of us being on the phone call, I was like, look, I want you to come onto the podcast, da-da-da-da-da. Like, it was just real. Like literally very first time ever talking to each other. I was ready for you to come on to the podcast. So this was almost destined to happen. I'm really glad to have you out here today, for real.
I can't thank you enough. Yeah, I knew that I needed to network with you. And like I said, right before our call, I thought I was going to do this other, I thought, maybe not going to do the wholesale, but I think I need to talk to this guy.
Right. We almost didn't have our call, right? Like, it got rescheduled and everything.
I knew I had to keep it, though. I did know that. I was like, you got to talk to this guy, because I could tell you were the real deal and that you're like I'm glad networker, and that's what I need to do too, is you know,
kind of get out here, right?
And, you
Well, I'm glad. Look, this is part of it right here. You on the podcast now. Hundreds or thousands of people will end up watching this over the course of time. So you are out there in the field now. You out here. So you're doing your networking. You're doing your marketing.
Oh man, well I really appreciate that because I hadn't wanted to just break out into start my own YouTube channel and
it's a lot. It's a lot. Trust me, it's a lot.
So I really
take my word for it.
Inviting me out. Yeah. And if I do, if I do, like we were talking about, I'd like to do maybe a podcast or something on mindset.
Right. Yeah, you were talking about that.
Yeah, because I mean, like I said, if you don't have that, it just it's like the oil, it's oil for the engine, and
keeps everything going. That's so true. So I know we talked about that before too. So like when you actually do start up the podcast, I'll be more than glad to like come on as a guest. And if and when that ever happens, right? Yeah. I'll make sure I'll come back to this video and drop the link. So if y'all watching this in the future, check the date on this. There's probably another link to Marni's podcast as well.
Well, and so when that does happen, then you will be my first guest.
Hey, I would be glad. I would be glad.
Yeah.
That would be great. We should do this soon. Let's just make it happen, Marni. Let's just do this.
All right. I think I need a new computer or microphone here. Or to get this, like I said, I bought this years ago, never used it, so I don't know how the sound is.
We're gonna get you all set up. Don't worry, okay. I got you. Okay. I'm gonna hook you up, Marni. We're gonna get you set up.
Okay, good. It's dark. I'm on my iPhone. Like, I definitely. Thank you.
No worries. No worries.
Great. Oh my gosh.
So awesome. Do you have any final parting words for the Wholesale Mastermind audience out here? Any final words that you want to say to people?
I would love to network with you guys. So if there's, if I can help you, I'm here to serve, and I know a lot of you out there can help me too. And like I said, I am building my team, and so I'd love to network with you all out in the real estate industry. So thanks for sticking with us till the end.
Hey, now, right? Yeah, you guys, right? If you checking this out still, you are a super trooper. So if you haven't already, make sure that you all hit that like button. Consider subscribing to the channel. If you haven't already, I mean, you've watched this long, you might as well check out the other videos on the channel as well. Hit the subscribe button, click that little bell so then you can get notified when I make new videos. Or if you're listening to the podcast and you liked this podcast, feel free to go ahead and just rate and review the podcast. It makes a huge difference. I know that like 80% of the audience is listening on like Apple Podcasts. So look, just do me a favor, hit that little rating. Hit a review, just let people know how it's working. Just let them know if you like it or not. That's all I want you to do. Be honest. I really mean that as well. Anyway, though, Marni, look, I really appreciate you coming out. Like, I think that we dropped some gems here. I think that we gave some great value to the audience. I hope that the audience agrees. Yeah, I know you. Look, guys, make sure you hit that like button to let us know if y'all got some value out of this. That's the best way to let us know.
Yeah, if you like it, do a little love.
Right. I'm gonna link Marni's information down in the description of the video or the podcast, wherever you're listening to this at. Check her out, connect with her. As you heard it here first, she wants to work with you all. Look, I do. 100% financing, potentially, guys. She can help you rebuild that credit. Look, this is what we all need. So that's why I said, like, within minutes of talking to Marni the first time, I was like, look, I would love to have you on the podcast. You just come on and just kind of share some of this stuff with my audience. It would be super appreciative. So once again, Marni, thank you so much for coming on to the Wholesaler Mastermind. Oh, it's my pleasure. It's my pleasure.
This is really fun. My first podcast.
Hey, right. Look
I'll
at
be
that.
a little
Look
less
at
nervous my second one.
No worries. No worries. We knocked it out. So,
yes.
All right, though. Well, guys, in that case, until next time, we are out.